Hi guys. Now I just want to go through the driving test report sheet for the Irish driving test. As you can see, we have it here in front of us. Now, on the left-hand column, they go through a list of items that they check for, and there's another column here in towards the middle of the sheet. They all check for these items as you're driving around. All these items are checked. Some of them are repeated under various different subheadings, such as here, 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 and so on for the rest of the sheet. So there's 18 subheadings, and they check for various different items under the same subheadings. Now, for each of the items they check, there's what they call grade 1 false, grade 2 false, and grade 3 false for each of these items along the left-hand column, and the same for the column here towards the middle of the sheet as well. You have grade 1 false, grade 2 false, and grade 3 false. Now, on the sheet overall, a person is allowed to have a certain number of false accrued in the driving test. With the grade 1 green coded or green coloured false, you can get all them marked on the whole sheet if you wish, but they will not count against you. Okay? You'd want to be getting limiting your blue grade 2 false then. You're allowed a certain number of grade 2 blue false against all these check items and all these check items. Failure of the driving test would occur if, for example, just taking the vehicle controls here, if you get 4 grade 2 false for, let's say, gears, 1 fault, 2 fault, 3 false, 4 false, then you have a problem with gears and they'll fail you in the driving test. Typically as well, let's say under observation here, if you have 6 false under that heading, or under any heading on the whole sheet, for example, you've got 1 fault here, 2 false, 3 false, 4, 5, 6 false under that heading, you'd also fail the driving test. So it's 4 false in a row for any item they check on the sheet, 4 grade 2 false and you'll fail, or 6 grade 2 false under any subheading on the sheet, and you'd also unfortunately fail your driving test. Now, you are allowed up to 8 blue grade 2 false, but they must be dispersed throughout the sheet, and there should be no number of false bunched together, because if you get a number of false bunched together, like here with the 4 in a row, or like here with 6 under the one heading, then they'll say you have a problem with that item, and I'm afraid you won't pass the driving test with a score such as those. Now, the pink grade 3 false, 2 columns of them here and 2 columns of them here. You don't want to get any grade 3 fault. If you get 1 grade 3 fault, then you fail your driving test straight away. Typically, you know yourself, oops, I shouldn't have done that. And more than likely, when you go back to the driving test centre, the tester will probably agree with you. Sometimes you might get away with a grade 2 if it was borderline grade 3, if everything on the sheet was perfect. But that's very I wouldn't count on that, you know. Now, just go through the subheadings of the sheet as well. You have rules and checks up here. So at the beginning of your test, they'll ask you the rules of the road questions. You cannot get grade 3 fault for that if you don't know the questions, but it's nice to know the questions because it's a good start to the test. Positioning then. How you position the car is very important, obviously. Observation, crucially important during the test. How you react to hazards, basically for any hazard you meet. You just slow down and if necessary stop, and when the hazard clears then you can drive on again. Mirrors here, obviously MSMM, which you probably have learned from the EDT lessons, very important. Clearance overtaking, generally doors with the parked cars, but don't be too far out in the middle of the road either. Signals, you signal in good time. You cannot get a grade 3 for these sub-items here, but you can get grade 3s for these 2 signals down here, which is beckoning others on. Just don't do it. Or if you give misleading signal, you could also possibly get a grade 3 fault. Motorcycles, well, obviously that's for people doing a motorcycle test. It wouldn't affect people doing a car, truck or bus test. Then you've courtesy on the form as well. Courtesy, just, be nice and driving around and take it handy and, drive on when you can, slow down a good time and just be courteous, show a bit of courtesy on the road to other people. Typically you might get an elderly person trying to cross the road somewhere. If they've stepped off the footpath, particularly at a junction, and they have right of way. Alighting, that is getting out of the car at the end of your driving test. You want to be checking that it's all clear before you open the driver's door to get out of the car. It would be a fright to actually have failed the driving test on that point. Up here then, we have progress. Generally now driving on the test as best you can when it's clear, and then slow down in good time. Vehicle controls. Your vehicle controls, you need to be smooth with the vehicle controls. If you're not smooth with the vehicle controls, you can get fault. So with experience and time behind the steering wheel upon driving, you'll get to be very smooth with the vehicle controls. Speed, obviously, your speed has to be correct during the driving test. You can't go too fast. Traffic controls, obviously traffic lights, traffic signals, road markings, pedestrian crossings, guarded traffic wardens, bus lanes and cycle lanes. You must obey all the traffic controls that are on the route you're taking on. Right of way, you have to know who has right of way as you drive around on the driving test. Reversing around the corner, this is the checks to do competently. That you do competently, your observation is good and you exhibit good right of way knowledge when a vehicle comes. Same with the turnabout, which is typically called a 3-point turn, but it depends on the length of your car and the width of the road as to whether you get it done in 3 points or not. Again, it's competently observation and right of way, the checks there. And then parking your car back in the driving test centre. You must park your car between the 2 white lines in the parking bay back at the driving test centre. If you get it slightly sideways, you might get away with it, but as long as the 4 tyres are in the space, but don't be too sideways. So that's the driving test sheet. Obviously now, of course, at the beginning of the test, they'll have put your name up here, the date of your test, and the registration number of your car on the sheet as well. Some testers use a tablet, and it's all done via the tablet. As they drive around, they do the test using the tablet with the sheet on the tablet. Other testers then may be a bit more mature, shall we say. They might not be up to date with computers too well, so they might use the sheet, and they'll mark the sheet possibly as they go around. Now, a lot of what I explained to you there is explained to you on the back of the test sheet as well. And you get both sides of the sheet in the appendix of the rules of the road book. So you can catch that on www.rotr.ie. That site is under maintenance at the moment, but you can still download from the top of the page. You can still download the rules of the road. So folks, that's the driving test sheet. overview. So hopefully that'll be help you. If you like the video, please do click the like button, and if you have any queries or comments, do fill in below underneath this video in the comments section, and we'll try and reply to you as best we can. And you can also subscribe to our channel, whereby we'll be making videos like this on a regular basis, trying to help people through the driving with different tips and tricks as we go along. So thanks folks for taking the time to look at this video. Bye for now, until next time.